Hello everyone, my name is Gyan and I am humbled by the honor accorded to me for addressing the annual online conference of the American Institute of Homeopathy on 13th and 14th November this year. The theme of my presentation shall be Unlearning, Learning and Relearning the Art of Healing with Homeopathy. My friends, there's no greater saga in the history of humanity than the legend of the healing art of medicine, spanning across millenniums from the magico-religious era to the current scientific modern medical era. While it is accepted in principle that medicine ought to be practiced in a holistic way, wherein it is not about the treatment of the diseased organs, pathologies, or micro-organisms, but the current pandemic sheds light on the actuality. Maximum number of proposed and practiced treatment strategies across all modes of treatment, whether conventional or complementary, neglected the individual expressions of the pathogenetic influences and propounded random therapeutic measures based on empiricism, trial and error. We all know how plasma therapy, for instance, was initially recommended and then withdrawn. Remdesvir was proposed and then dismissed. Hydroxychloroquine likewise. The situation, alas, my friends, was not too different in homeopathy. In fact, this is just what Hahnemann had cautioned in the medical practice of that time, as he writes in the preface to the very first edition of Organon. According to the testimony of all ages, no occupation is more unanimously declared to be a conjectural art than medicine. Consequently, none has less right to refuse a searching inquiry as to whether it is well founded than it, on which man's health, his most precious possession on earth, depends. I consider that it redounds to my honor that I am the only one in recent times who has subjected it to serious, honest investigation. In this investigation, I found the way to the truth, but I had to tread it alone, very far from the common highway of medical routine. The farther I advanced from truth to truth, the more my conclusions led me away from the old edifice, which being built up of opinions, was only maintained by opinions. The results of my convictions are set forth in this book. It remains to be seen whether physicians who mean to act honestly by their conscience and by their fellow creatures will continue to stick to the pernicious tissue of conjectures and caprice, or can open their eyes to the salutary truth. The reason why distinct homeopathic medicines were strongly recommended as genius epidemicus by each homeopathic institute or organization or leading homeopathic physicians with equal certainty was because of a failure to appreciate the fundamental requirements for determining it, which is akin to the remedy selection for each and every sick individual. A lot of this ambiguity is taken care of by closely studying the teachings of the Organon. For example, in the first parenthesis of the third aphorism of Organon, Hahnemann writes, knowledge of disease, indication. This former knowledge of disease is required by any physician to diagnose or manage the case in hand, but the latter, indication, that is to say, that which is unique to the sick individual, which determines the choice of the remedy and prognosis of that individual case, is required by the homeopathic physician. Further, we shall also track the romance of the most followed complementary system of medicine, homeopathy, which is studied with the dynamic cavalcade of men and women who walked in its trail. It is embedded in the heroes and impostors, the learned and the pretentious, who helped shape its trajectory. The heroes were those determined students, skilled practitioners and advocates who added wisdom to knowledge, art to science, and humility to their qualification. These Hahnemannians confirmed that the most successful way of practicing the healing art of homeopathy was by carefully studying the Organon and pure provings of homeopathic medicines. They obtained the best recorded success in the history of medicine, which prompted Edmund J. Lee to write, "These men had no secret methods of practice, no secret remedies. They had nothing more than the humblest of us may acquire. A profound knowledge of Hahnemann's organon, of his chronic diseases, and of the homeopathic materia medica. Cannot we all obtain that knowledge also? And having it, cannot we too use it to cure these scourges of the human race as they did?" These early Hahnemannians made up the whole guard, as they were the guardians of this pure homeopathy of Hahnemann. They defended pure homeopathy from every departure and misrepresentation. The polypharmacists, the physiological and pathological prescribers, the alternatists, the isopathists, the eclectics, Schuslerists, etc. The most illustrious members of this old guard were Boninghusen, Constantine Hering, Adolf Lippi, Carol Dunhan, and P.P. Wells, who were not only successful in preserving pure homeopathy by relentlessly denouncing the pretenders who never ceased to pop up within our profession, but moreover confirmed the immutable value of the whole of Hahnemann's work and further developed homeopathy. They genuinely expanded materia medica by pursuing Hahnemann's method of conducting reliable provings. Even a casual glance at their lives, writings, clinical cases, and achievements are enough to inspire and inculcate a modesty of being, which is the hallmark of great men and women. This is required to counter the hubris of the physician and rather inculcate tolerance and ability to question what is being taught or practiced. The practice of medicine, especially the homeopathic system of medicine, entails a constant balancing act, not only between the knowledge and wisdom, but also between intelligent skepticism, scientific and medical novelties, and above all, an open-mindedness. After all, we are subservient to time. Whereas Renaissance marked the shift away from the study of God to the study of man, today the trend both in medicine and culture seems to have polarized towards the study of science. And the homeopathic physician is best equipped to bridge this chasm. Our critics scream that we cannot remove the pathology. However, ultra-high dilutions in homeopathic medicines catalyze the recovery process of the sick person by stimulating the innate healing capacity. And so we see in clinical practice fibroids and polyps resolving without scalpels, serological markers restored to normalcy, resolution of pathologies, resolution of pneumonia, for instance in COVID-19 patients without corticosteroids and antibiotics, while pro-homeopathy researchers are still grappling with the plausibility of the actions of ultra-high dilutions in homeopathic medicines. My friends, let us revisit and evaluate homeopathy from the very fountainhead over 2 days later this year with the following discussions. Is it a myth or reality that the discreetly hidden treasures of organon are only revealed by the master to the disciple? Unsaid and unspoken, looking between the lines and reading between the words of Hahnemann's organon. Richard Hughes once said, "The study of materia medica begins with vertigo and ends with rage." How many of us know that he was referring to materia medica pura, in which the first section is sensorium and the last one on mind and disposition? Let us discuss whether indexing is really necessary and question the role of repertory in homeopathic practice. And last but not the least, let us discuss COVID-19, genius epidemicus, and especially the sequelae coming up nowadays. For example, pulmonary fibrosis, cardiac and renal complications, psychiatric and behavioral diseases, and lately musculoskeletal and rheumatic complications and how to deal with them. And also, because India currently is going through the second phase with the new phase of virus, let us also discuss clinical experiences in that. Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to see you.